Welcome to the City Rooster Forum. I'm Kenny the Rooster, and today our word phrase is our classic bottom line. Yes, our classic bottom line. The classic bottom line is the exchange of goods, services, and money. A lot of people don't talk about that nowadays. The reason why is because a lot of times people don't think about that. People don't think that they should do anything for other people. All they need to do is make money. A lot of selfishness. All they do is care about themselves. Well, so the bottom line today is money. That's all they say. The bottom line is money, and money is money. That's all they care about. No prestige at all. Just the bottom line is money. But the classic bottom line, before it was revised and regurgitated, was the exchange of goods, services, and money. That's where the phrase, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, comes from. Not today when people are doing corrupt things, like scams and so forth. Not paying for hitmen for destructive reasons, just to defend destructive causes or socialist or communistic causes. That's not what the bottom line was for. That's not what you scratch my back, I scratch your back was for. The classic bottom line, exchange of goods and services and money, made money valuable, a lot more valuable than it is now. When you hear about the American dollar going down in value, you hear about a lot of things like it's not being used for exchange around the world. You hear about all the printing out of what the government does to get themselves in debt. This is despite the fact that the government shouldn't be in debt, despite all the money we piss away to other countries and all the arms we give to other countries, including NATO and Israel and other countries. That doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic. That just means we need to put America first. Nobody's helping us. Nobody is sending us arms, and nobody is sending us money, yet we're the ones that are supposedly in debt. That's a mindset. But that's not what money was about. Money was about the vouchers for people who have provided services and goods to other people. That's what we live for, to do things for other people. My grandfather used to tell me, we're put on earth for a purpose. Well, let's get into that purpose. School teachers, not college professors, as they like to call themselves, school teachers is a service. School teachers, plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, construction workers, people in food service, people in entertainment that we don't even have anymore. There's not any real musicians anymore. The only musicians we have are the ones that go regional. Nobody wants to go commercial in the music business anymore. Nobody wants to be an entertainer anymore. That's because there's no talent that goes commercial. All the talent that happens is just local. You don't see a lot of real musicians or real celebrities doing anything past the year 2000. It just doesn't happen anymore. We don't have a monoculture because we don't have entertainers. A lot of our jobs are being outsourced because companies have decided that they would like to send the jobs to other countries for other workers to indulge of because many Americans don't want to work anymore. Well, that's a sad thing. There were many Asian countries such as the Japanese and Thai and the Philippines and Taiwan. A lot of good countries with good people who work their asses off. They'll take American jobs. A lot of people came to America because of the jobs that were here. Now we're sending all our jobs and resources to other countries. So now the only people that come here are third world criminals. So they can try to see if they can take over our country after destroying their own and maybe taking credit for anything good here that's still left. Well, that's not the classic bottom line. The classic bottom line never had to leave. We never had to let third world people come into this country. None of them are going to plan on working. We can say, oh, we'll give them a chance. None of them want to take that chance. They just want to kill off Americans. That's all they're doing. It's not xenophobic to say. The classic bottom line was the exchange of goods, services, and money. Having prestige. People who go to these third world colleges, universities, Ivy League colleges like Harvard, well, they were thought to be a part of America's history, but they're really not. And the progressive movement has ensured their stability here. So while there are Ivy League universities with great infrastructure, making a lot of money and not giving any services, all they're doing is indoctrinating their students, which doesn't cost a lot of money. School teachers nowadays in private schools are better than public schools because school teachers in private schools nowadays are actually interested in teaching students about reading, writing, arithmetic, decent biology. You don't have that anymore in public schools. So now the goods and the services in public schools is no longer there. A lot of times if you want to learn something, you're going to either learn online or go to YouTube or wherever. You don't want to learn from an American because there are not too many Americans here that want to teach. There are not too many Americans here that want to work. We're short on plumbers and pipe fitters and electricians. When Donald Trump said, drill, baby, drill, he was hoping that there would be a lot of people that would do the work. They don't want to do the work. They're too lazy. When he came into for presidency for a second term, he didn't realize the mess he was getting. Sure, he got a good cabinet, and some of them had to be replaced because they didn't live up to his standards. But all of them, Trump and his cabinet, did not know the mess that they were inheriting. They're not even getting any work from Congress. Congress don't work at all. They take all these recesses. They take all this time off. They take all this time to leisure themselves. Then they come back and they might sign a couple of bills and then they just go home again. Congress is not doing very much work. How many bills did they pass this year? None. Because they don't even think about the classic bottom line. If we had the classic bottom line back and people understood it, and people understood that it's all about the exchange of goods, services, and money, we would be doing that. The circulation of our economics depends on that. But we're not having that sort of circulation anymore. All people want to do is get money. Scammers are so common nowadays because all scammers want is money. They don't want to do anything to help other people. They just want money. Credit card scammers, telephone scammers, all sorts of people that want to BS you into saying that they're this, but they're not. All the scams that are saying that they're providing services for people, and all they're doing is trying to get government money and government subsidies for work that they're not doing. Because all they want is money. And if we make a premise that money is the bottom line, then we're telling people that work is not needed, that goods are not needed, that services are not needed. But goods and services are very much needed. Goods and services should be as much of part of the bottom line as money. Money is basically created to show how people have earned their trade, how people have been worthy of their wealth. Paul McCartney is a multi-billionaire. He's worth every cent. He earned it. We don't have those kind of people anymore. When they say tax the rich, the people that say tax the rich are jealous of the rich because the rich are very skilled and very, very knowledgeable of the trade. In budget, it's equally important to understand that where the money comes from is just as important as where the money goes. But people who say tax the rich are ignorant people who don't know how money works. They don't know how business works. They don't know how services work. They don't know anything. We have politicians that talk like that. A lot of those politicians know nothing. Many of them have never worked. When was the last time Bernie Sanders worked or Joe Biden? AOC said she was a bartender when she was actually only an assistant bartender. And when she was assistant bartender, she never worked. She just sat there looking sexy for people who wanted to get laid with her. And that's what happens. Elizabeth Warren got where she went by telling people she's an Indian so she could get a special pass and be a minority. So the classic bottom line is something that is not supported and not honored enough in this country. That's why we have so many BS artists and scammers taking advantage of our society. We have people raising money for bad causes. I see it all the time on the street. People say it's just George Soros. It's not just George Soros. George Soros is very rich and very destructive, and he's done a lot of hurtful and hateful things. But he's not the only person who's been involved in doing this. He's just been a very bad influencer. But there's a lot of people that are out on the streets collecting for phony charities so they can raise money and give it to the organizations for these paid agitators. That won't go away. We have people like ICE who understand the classic bottom line, and they're providing a very good service, and we're basically demonstrating resistance against it. ICE is there to protect us. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We need them. We need the law enforcement to protect us. The people who are against them are violent criminals or people that support violent criminals that want to let all these criminals off. The judges who let all these violent criminals off don't let them off because they think they have rights that are not being violated. They don't think that due process works with them. They just want to kill more Americans. And many of these woke judges never worked in their life and never studied anything and don't understand how the Constitution works. As a result, many law-abiding citizens, instead of going out to work, are losing their lives. Many violent criminals are wandering the country, making their living by stealing from other people. Shoplifters do that. That doesn't sound like somebody who supports the classic bottom line. The classic bottom line is supported by law-abiding citizens who know that they make money by providing goods and or services to other people and have the satisfaction of their money. And they don't have to be millionaires to do it, although if people become millionaires by earning the money that made them millionaires, that's fine. I have more respect for a millionaire like Kevin O'Leary, who earned his money by building buildings or real estate, than a scam artist who still doesn't even have $100,000 to their name. Because money is a voucher to show that you earned it through giving a good or a service. Even smaller amounts. Many people in the past operated that way. For well over 200 years, that's how some people did it. That's how veterans did it. Many veterans fought for this country so we could have such a system. We're losing that system because people want to regurgitate the classic bottom line into what they think is today just money. And if all money is what people want, they lost all their prestige. They lost all their self-respect. There are people that are brainwashed into thinking that this is the system and support it and don't even know why they're supporting it. But they'll find out why in the end and they'll regret it and they can't reverse it. I have to say, I've been very proud of the work I did in the past. I'm not happy about the way it was taken away from me, but I'm very proud of the fact that I did it. I've helped a lot of people, and a lot of people remember me for good reasons back in the 20th century. Now, people who I run into find me useless because I don't give them money. Progressives are natural at this. They make all this money, then they use all this money to get power. And when they don't get their own way, they sue somebody and say it's another person's fault. Well, that's what's going to happen in the future. Our constitutional republic depends on the classic bottom line. The classic bottom line is what feeds capitalism. That's how capitalism is operated. Anybody who has an understanding of socialism or capitalism needs to show other people this. And there are some people that feel this way. And it's not just conservatives. There are constitutional lawyers who understand this. Not too many constitutional lawyers, but some. And what happens here is that once we have a situation where the classic bottom returns to this country, the classic bottom line returns to this country, then we will have a better understanding of why capitalism is so important. It's not something that needs to go in a show after show after show. They just have to learn it. They just have to learn how to budget. Kids need to be taught this. And kids, if they're among the right people, will be taught it. A child's mind is like a sponge. My daughter's doing very well for herself, and so is her boyfriend. And now they're both working. They don't have to hate anybody. They don't have to hate Donald Trump. They don't have to support socialism or communism. They don't take for granted what they have. When you have something good, you don't take it for granted. Smart people don't. Just be grateful. Be grateful for the classic bottom line, which is the exchange of goods and services for money, or goods and services of money. Because what purpose would money have if we didn't have goods and services? Well, Richard Nixon never thought about this. He made a directive to do away with the gold and silver standard to back up the value of money. So there is nobody that knows the value of money. There is nobody that knows that this is what happens with money. So once we get back to the classic bottom line, people will understand things a lot more. Thank you for watching the City Rooster Forum. Please like, share, and subscribe whenever you get your podcast. And don't forget to comment.